Good afternoon, everybody. How is everybody doing today? It's Alex Chisnall here once again, hosting day 9 at the Festival of Startups. And it's my great pleasure today to let you know this session, we've got the Peter Jones Foundation with us for a super exciting first session. Another 3 sessions coming, 3 or 4 sessions actually coming after that as well. So do stay with us throughout the day. And then we've actually put on a bonus day for you tomorrow, which we've listed up, and we've got a couple of extra sessions for you. We're finishing up with, I'm chatting to Adam Kamani, co-founder of Pretty Little Thing, part of the Boohoo dynasty. So that's going to be wrapping up tomorrow. But thank you all for joining us today. If this is your first time, welcome. You can find replays of all of our sessions throughout the past 8 days over at the festivalofenterprise.co.uk website. And likewise, the first question I always get asked is, when are the replays available? So the replay for this session is going to be available on there as well. So just to tell you a little bit about this session, as I say, we're honoured to have the Peter Jones Foundation, established in 2005 with a vision to encourage, educate and empower the young people of Britain in achieving their potential. Founded by successful entrepreneur and star of Dragon's Den, Peter Jones, CBE. So delighted to have the Managing Director, Bill Moorhead, with me. Bill, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm very well, thanks, Alex. Ready to go.
Awesome. Whereabouts are you joining us from, Bill?
I'm in a little village called Ledburn, outside Leighton Buzzard. You won't have heard of it, but it's famous for the Great Train Robbery.
There you go.
There you go. A bit of trivia for you.
You're putting it on the map. Okay. And we've got judges from all 4 corners of the UK and candidates as well, as you'll hear from Bill. I'm down in Poole in Dorset at the moment, and really looking forward to hosting this for you today. Got loads going on. Those of you who've been on here throughout the week will know we've got a live chat button there and a questions button. We've got so much going on, which Bill is about to explain, that I will just say we probably won't have time to answer all your questions, but we'll be able to provide links and contact details if you'd like to follow up with Bill and his colleagues as well. But look, without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Bill to say a little bit more about today. I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, but I'm going to be here to moderate this for you, and I'm super excited. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Bill.
Amazing. Thank you, Alex. I'm Bill. As Alex said, I'm Managing Director at the Peter Jones Foundation, and we're absolutely delighted to be here this afternoon and to be part of the Festival of Startups. Thank you to Festival of Enterprise for involving us, for inviting us back again this year. And we are this afternoon hosting the final of our Scale Up Challenge. We're really excited. We've got 4 fantastic enterprising individuals to pitch to you. But before we get into that, allow me to give you a little bit of background on the Peter Jones Foundation. I don't want to assume you all know that Peter Jones has a charity. We are a charity. And our mission is really to provide young people and disadvantaged groups with enterprise skills and experiences to better prepare them for successful employment or self-employment. And it's important to say that it's both of those strands. You know, with the Peter Jones Association, a lot of people think we're purely about the next great entrepreneur, but actually we have programs that help young people develop skills, whatever the pathway they choose. So that's what we're all about. We do that in 3 ways. We encourage young people, we educate young people, and we empower young people. If you're not aware of the foundation, we encourage through a program called Tycoon. Tycoon is a national enterprise competition that is free for schools across the UK. So if you're a parent, if you're a teacher, if you've got any involvement with schools, I'd encourage you to check out tycoon.com. That's a great program through which young people can set up and run a business as part of their education with a goodwill loan from our foundation. So that's how we encourage young people. We educate them through a network of what we call Peter Jones Enterprise Academies, or PJEAs for short. And those academies deliver level 2 and level 3 qualifications in business, enterprise, and entrepreneurship. And the 4 individuals you're going to meet today are our alumni and part of our Empower strand. So we empower young people once they've come off those courses to go on to do greater things. So that's what we're all about. A little bit more about today. As I say, we've got 4 finalists. They've all graduated from Peter Jones Enterprise Academies. They're going to be delivering 5-minute pitches to our esteemed panel of judges who will have 5 minutes to question them. It's going to be one pitch after another, hopefully really interesting, really enjoyable for you as an audience, and thank you for joining us. If you want to find more about the foundation, it's peterjonesfoundation.org. We are a charity, so as a quick plug, we're doing a virtual fundraiser at this time in the run up to Christmas. So if you're interested in supporting us in that way, go to charitystars.com, and for a measly £10, you can have the opportunity of having a 10-minute video call with Peter Jones himself, pitch your idea, tap into his business expertise, and so on. So a quick plug for a fundraiser that we're doing. But let's get into today's event. As I say, we've got 4 finalists. They're delivering pitches. The big prize today is a year of support for them to scale up their business. And at the core of that prize package is a place on NatWest's prestigious Accelerator Programme. And we're super grateful to NatWest for providing that. And joined on our panel today by Josh Winfield, who also heads up NatWest's brilliant Business Builder Programme. So I'm now going to hand over to the judges, including Josh, to just give a brief introduction to themselves, and then we'll get into the pitches themselves. So Josh, why don't we start with you for a brief introduction?
Absolutely. Thanks, Bill. Afternoon, everybody. Or is it? No, it is afternoon. Thanks very much for that kind introduction. Yeah, my name is Josh Winfield. I represent the Business Builder Programme for NatWest Group. We cover the entire UK, and Business Builder is essentially an online accelerator programme. We've run accelerators and supported business for a very, very long time within NatWest. We've had in-house accelerator programmes within bank buildings for the last 5 years or so, and in the last 18 months, we've put an awful lot of time and resources into developing Business Builder, which takes all of the learning and all of the one-to-one expertise that we have, packages them in an online environment, and makes it available to anybody, for that matter, completely free of charge, and regardless of whether you're a customer with us or not. So please do take a look. From a personal level, as program lead for Business Builder, I'd love to know what you think. But I've been very, very lucky to work with Bill and Stella and members of the Peter Jones team for the last year or so. It's wonderful what they do. It's wonderful to be involved, and it's wonderful to be able to contribute our prize today. So thank you for having me. Look forward to seeing the pitches.
Amazing. Thanks, Josh. And thanks again for being on the panel today. Let's go to Sabrina. Over to you for a little introduction.
Thank you so much for having me today. My name is Sabrina. A lot of you may know me from the BBC One Apprentice show a couple of years ago. My background is I run a tennis events company, so we have about 400 events a year. We ran a subscription site earlier this year, which is kind of similar to Skyscanner, getting delivery slots to everyone who is isolating, and currently running 2 PR. So an agency is getting CEOs, entrepreneurs, online coaches in the press. Really excited to be with you all today. Please feel free to connect with me, probably on Instagram, and really good luck to everyone who's pitching today. Very excited to hear all of your ideas.
Awesome. Thanks, Sabrina, joining us all the way from Dubai today. So thanks so much for being on our panel. Hassan, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you again for having me. I'm the MD of Creative Pixels, a branding agency and a web agency based in Manchester. Other than running the agency, I've actually been an ex-alumni of the Peter Jones Academy, so I've gone through the whole system. I'm now back as a youth panel member as well as a judge for this, and I'm really excited to see the finalists.
Awesome. Thanks, Hassan. It's so good to have an alumni on the panel as well. And as you know, we kind of follow the success of your business closely. So great to have you on board. Thank you. Stella.
Hi, everyone. I'm Stella Atherston. I work in an advisory capacity for the foundation. I have a business and finance background, and I lectured on business innovation. And I participated in several panels judging the young people that are coming through the foundation. And it is so exciting to be here again and to listen to what people have achieved. It's just such a great thing to be able to support. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Stella. Thank you, judges. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's kick off today's main event, our Scale Up Challenge final. So put your hands together out there. Big round of applause for Louis Bollard. Louis, over to you. Camera on. Brilliant.
Over £5,000. That's how much hotels in Madrid were for the 2019 Champions League final. That was just for a single room for the one night. And Airbnb wasn't even much better. Rooms were going for over £1,000 on the outskirts of Madrid, and we even found stories of hosts cancelling prior bookings and charging replacement fans up to 5 times the amount that they would normally have paid. Now, for me, obviously, as a big Liverpool supporter, that meant, unfortunately, I couldn't be in Madrid for the game where I wanted to be with my fellow supporters. I missed out, and I wasn't the only one. This happened to a lot of supporters that I know, with the cost of accommodation really being a thing to put them off. It wasn't even the first time it had happened. It happened the year before in Kiev, the year before that in Cardiff, and there are numerous examples of similar times when accommodation prices have spiked due to a big game in town. Unfortunately, this means that the core working class audience that is at the heart of football and other similar sports are often priced out of accommodation, which can be 30 to 40% of the cost of an away trip. Not only that, but it also means that each away trip lacks a real cultural element with the local area and local supporters. However, the occasion also reminded me of a business idea I'd had a couple of years earlier, and that was when the successful Bedford Away fans campaign happened with Borussia Dortmund and Monaco fans. That was when local Dortmund fans hosted Monaco fans free of charge because the game got delayed by 24 hours. Later on that year, with the famous Adopt a Lions campaign, also happened in rugby. And that was a similar concept where the Lions supporters were hosted by Kiwi fans in the 2017 Lions tour. And then 2 years later, after the fiasco with the Liverpool game, I had a little look into it, and still there was no company set up to facilitate this transfer and hosting of away supporters by local supporters. So that's why I then set up Play Away, Stay Away. Our mission is connecting fans and creating friends. We're a fan-to-fan host community where, instead of paying for accommodation costs, fans pay an annual membership fee to be part of our community and access the details and request to stay with supporters across our network. This adds that cultural element that is missing from a hotel, as well as the cost saving that comes with it. Other benefits include the safety when you go to a city that you might not have been to before, and a friendship that lasts long beyond the final whistle. Now, when I started Play Away, Stay Away about a year ago, I initially targeted the football and rugby communities simultaneously. As you can imagine, the response from supporters was really well received. They seemed to really like the concept, and the market seemed ready for it. However, one thing that did come through from supporters, speaking to them in pubs before and after games, on transport going to games and in stadiums, was the need to create 2 separate communities, one for rugby and one for football. Since then, I split up into and rebranded a little bit as well, away from Play Away, Stay Away, into the acronym of PASA, and created a website, PASA Rugby and PASA Football. Now, I foresee 4 revenue streams, one being the membership fees that I charge the travelling supporters when they come, 2 being advertisements on site once I get a decent number of active users per month and increase the website's exposure, 3 is partnerships with local restaurants, tourist attractions and pubs in the city. Merchandise store on my website, pasarugby.com, and you can actually go and get a Black Friday deal there today, 50% off if you want to have a little look as well. Now, at the end of the first year, I was awarded by getting 52nd in the top 100 tech round startups of the year. That's alongside brands such as Peloton, Zoom, TikTok, and other big names that are far more established than I was. Now, the opportunity here is massive. Sports tourism is the biggest area of growth in world travel. It's got a circa 6% year-on-year growth, and the industry as a whole was worth about $700 billion US. Football alone brings about 800,000 annual tourists to the UK, and that was projected to hit over 1 million. For rugby, about 30 to 40,000 Lion supporters go to a tour typically, and you've also got pan-international tournaments such as the Guinness Six Nations, the Pro 14 with 2 South African clubs, and 2 more set to join as well in the near future. As such, my focus immediately has been on doing it in rugby first, and that has been my core target market, mainly because of this makeup of the leagues and the games and the geographical dispersion of the clubs being more akin to travelling. Then I plan to go into football, and then, if successful, I plan to go into further markets such as tennis, that I know Sabrina's very interested in. Golf and cricket are 2 other examples that I think could be tapped into as well. Now, finally, the future for me. Obviously, COVID was a big hit to a business like mine so early on, but it allowed me the chance to really re-strategize and really formulate a new business proposal, split those communities up and build the website for it. I foresee a big pent-up demand of supporters to go to games once they're allowed back in the stands. And therefore, I think there could be massive growth in this idea, and I think the potential is huge. And also, with the current economic circumstances, I think the incentive to save money, which I offer, will be greater than ever before. I'm currently studying for an MBA in University of Bath, as I was offered a full scholarship to do that down here. And so I'm making links through that with various rugby players themselves and the club itself in the heart of the city. Now, if I was to get the Accelerator Programme, I would love the chance to have that space and that access to office space that it offers, and also the mentorship to help me do it. At the moment, I'm currently doing everything myself. I have an investor who I speak to regularly, but apart from that, it's just everything on me. And as you can imagine, with an MBA, there's quite a lot to do. So I'm also looking for a more technical-minded co-founder to help me run the technical side of the business, while I can focus on sales and growth and really pushing the vision and the strategy. So that's everything from me. If you're a football supporter or a rugby supporter, feel free to get in touch. Have a little look at the websites. It's Pazza Rugby and PazzaFootball.com. And yeah, I'd love to open the floor to any questions.
Amazing. Thanks, Louis. I was slightly worried you're going to go the full Monty with taking your clothes off.
Save that for another day.
Save that for another day. Listen, great pitch. Over to you, Josh, for the first question.
Thanks very much. Thank you, Lou. That was a great pitch. As and when you do branch out into cricket, I'm not entirely sure how many England and Australia fans you're going to get to share a home rather than knock each other out, but that'll be interesting. You answered a lot of my questions as I was writing them, and I had to keep ticking them off, which was very frustrating. But the one that stands out for me is you've talked about the challenges you faced this year. What is the biggest challenge that you feel is coming up, and how do you plan to deal with that?
I think the biggest challenge still coming up is not as such the threat of coronavirus on a global level, more on gaining that trust with supporters that it's still okay to go and stay with another supporter's house. Yeah. So that's why I foresee a lot of the travelling supporters I'm targeting for the Lions Tour next year, which is one of my big core events for the coming 12 months, is I'm trying to target the younger age group and the younger hosts, because as we've seen with the pandemic, that it generally is less effective of younger people. So I think it's more that trust element that people are okay again with accepting people into their homes again, and kind of all of the cleanliness that will have to come around that. And I don't kind of undermine that as an issue. I know that is one of the biggest risks at the moment. And as I say, when I set it up 12 months ago, I would never have foreseen that a global pandemic would literally lock people in their homes. So it has been obviously a bit of a shock. And so I'd say that, to be honest.
No, I would agree. I think trust is a big one. I think it's wise to be thinking about it. Thanks very much. Really enjoyed it.
Great. Thank you. Stella, maybe a question from you.
Thanks, Bill. So great presentation. My partner is a Liverpool supporter, so you had my attention right from the beginning. What are you doing about competitor challenge? So do you think you have competitors out there, and how are you protecting your business from them eroding your audience?
Yeah, really good question. So first, to address it initially, there's not a competitor in the rugby field. As I've had extensive searches, I've looked everywhere, and I can't find a competitor at the moment. In the football field, I did actually find a competitor in Germany who's doing the same concept, and funnily enough was also inspired by the Borussia Dortmund and Monaco occasion that I referred to. However, that's also why I've strategically gone for rugby first, build up the community in rugby, and then once I've built up that brand, can kind of copy and paste it into the football side. To respond to your question in regards to protection, as Sophie alluded to in her pitch, there's not a lot I can do. There's not an awful amount of I can do to protect a concept as such. So with supporters, with key members, and again, that's where the actual pandemic crisis allowed me a little bit of a chance to do that with a longer strategic foresight, as opposed to the kind of ad hoc, on your feet kind of instant demand. So in a really cheeky kind of way, I'm almost hoping that the pandemic puts off other people from entering the market for now, for at least the next 6 to 12 months. But yeah, I hope that addresses your question.
It does.
Great stuff. And Sabrina, over to you.
Amazing, really great pitch. I'm actually working with a rugby tech company, nothing similar to what you do, but one of the biggest challenges they have found is finding a really effective co-founder, as obviously the whole concept is massively reliant on tech. So do you think you're going to turn this into an app, keep it as a website, and how do you think you're going to go about finding that co-founder?
Yeah, really, again, another really good question. I don't underestimate the value of a co-founder. I've run a business before with another alumni from the Peter Jones Enterprise Academy, actually, and like the value that having two minds is priceless, really. So I definitely do want to do that. At the moment, as I alluded to, I'm doing an MBA. I've got a couple of people who have already kind of said that they love the concept and want to help out. So it's a little bit of vetting in terms of how confident I can be with their support. But I am almost on the market for a more technical co-founder. I've also got in touch with the university's computer science department. Unfortunately, a lot of the events and entrepreneurship networks is all kind of online at the moment. So that is another route that I'm going down in order to find somebody who not only believes the concept and loves the actual sporting side, but on a technical level can also deliver what I wanted. I've had to learn on the job, to be honest, and I've built the websites myself, and it's taken me a lot of time. And just, sorry, the other thing to address your app question, that's another thing that hopefully in the next 6 to 12 months, when I speak to supporters, the first or second thing that they say is, oh, you need an app for this. So that's definitely one thing that I'm focusing on. But as you probably know, it's quite an expensive field to set up in.
Great stuff. And Hassan, final question from you. And Louis, if I could ask for just a really quick, brief answer to this one, just to keep us on track time-wise.
As everyone said, really great pitch. Sabrina took the question out of my mouth. I had a technical question as well. But in terms of kind of adding to that, once you've found the co-founder and once you've built the platform, how do you see, especially because of COVID, and especially you've mentioned how you're going to address it, but how are you planning to get the app out there or the website out there through marketing? What's the strategy behind there?
Yeah, so my initial strategy was literally feet on the floor. I'm quite a practical guy. I'm quite open. I quite enjoy meeting new people and just approaching them. And as I said, I'd be going around to pubs, and we got over 200 people signed up to the initial platform, which was kind of both rugby and football. We got over 200 people signed up in the first couple of months. So in a sense, that was a good, effective strategy. And I feel like once people have used it and stayed with other fans, it will kind of almost exponentially word of mouth growth. In these communities, it's because they're quite small communities, and quite often people are sharing flights, buses, stuff like that. It can actually spread really quick. And I found that quite early on, especially in the rugby community, as I alluded to in terms of the number of memberships. So again, with a big budget, I would go on a bigger, larger marketing spree, as well as kind of doing that more practical, me just on the ground, approaching supporters, approaching clubs, and really kind of promoting it that way.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Thanks, Louis. Really great pitch. You can turn your mic off, turn your camera off. On to the third presenter, third pitch today. And a shout out to the great people up in Leicester College at our Peter Jones Enterprise Academy up there, because Yolanda Dixon was class of 2016, and she's up next. So Yolanda, over to you.
Sorry, I just dropped out there. I don't know if you...
Hang on a second. Is Yolanda there? Louis, you can go on mute. You can turn your camera off. I'm just looking for Yolanda in the sidebar, and she might have dropped off. So, Simone, I'm just mentally preparing you that we might come to you and see if we can find Yolanda and swap you both around without wanting to put you too much on the spot. But let me just give it a couple of minutes. Maybe speak to Alex, our producer. Have you got any sign of Yolanda, or shall I go
No,
on?
Bill, I'm just posting up in the chat there. I can't see her. She's not in the room at the moment. Let me have a little look in the lounge, see if she's flipped out there. But otherwise, I think maybe a good call to switch it up, as you said, with Simone. If Simone wants to maybe unmute herself and let us know if she's able to step into the breach.
We're fine too.
Simone, amazing. Sorry to put you on the spot like that.
That's okay.
But Simone, for everyone's benefit, is from East Durham College. So a shout out to the great people up in East Durham College as well. They do a fantastic job at the Peter Jones Enterprise Academy up there. So Simone, over to you.
Obesity is a national problem, like everywhere, but in County Durham it's risen by like 0.7%. So it's like actually higher than England's average, which is 24.4%. And then County Durham's is 25%, so it's quite a lot. This is based on 4 to 5-year-olds in reception classes. So my name's Simone, and I'm founder of Salamander Taekwondo. Salamander is a Taekwondo club which is based in the Northeast. So me and my brother run sessions. So we've got like 2 locations, and then we've got Northumbria Uni, who we're like head coaches for. What we aim to do is provide a good service to allow people to enjoy activity, but as well as like strive to be the best it can be, like whether it be just in training or in like education, just in general life. I opened the club in 2018 because I had discussions with my brother. So he started it off in 2016, and then I got my own venue in 2018. The reason I wanted to do it because I'm obviously passionate about it, so I want to pass on my knowledge, as well as I give people the opportunities I've had, because I've had a credible experience going international, competing, making friends with like other countries like Australians. But I also want to give back to the community, because like during me fighting, I've had like a lot of sponsorships off like the town council and stuff. So by giving this service to them, they can have a bit of giving back to go and helping the younger generation. Obviously, the next reason I open is because I want to address the obesity levels in County Durham. So my experience is I know I can provide a good service, as I'm an ex-GB national senior member. So I trained alongside Jay Jones and Bianca Walton. So if you don't know who they are, they're double Olympic champion and triple world champion. So I got a lot of experience off them. I'm 6-time national champion and vice student European champion. And I'm currently working with a professional Bellator fighter. So I'm trusted like in the hands of a professional athlete to allow me to help him get better. So I'm confident that I can give back to the younger generation the same. So Salamander provides like from ages 3 and above. Like anyone can do it. So I've got my mum doing it. She's 57 now. She started when she was 37. But our main business purpose is to run sessions like allowing students to learn both aspects. So like there's the martial art and then the Olympic sport. But this allows them to develop confidence, so it makes them feel better. and then it helps them improve the fitness as well. So they're always like learning something new, whether it be like fitness, new fitness drills, learning different techniques. But they've also got opportunity to like aim for something as well. So they can like, whether it be progressing belts, winning a fight, or just improving the general fitness. So my main target market is ages 3 to 11, so primary school ages. So obviously the obesity levels is what I've looked at in this age, but I was thinking by getting them into a routine now, that can help them as they get older, because kids tend to drop off if they don't enjoy something as much. But I thought of like going into schools, creating programs for them, so that will help them show off the sport, but as well as hopefully get people interested. As I've done that in 2018 and it worked, I retained students from schools. I do want to eventually develop into secondary schools, as I know people can struggle with like ADHD, so Taekwondo is a great way to help them improve the focus, as it's been proven. Like I've had a student come to me who's autistic and had ADHD, so by them coming to me, I've like helped them improve a lot in school as well. But due to the overweight and obesity levels rising in County Durham, I want to prevent this like from any age, but preferably like the younger ages, because it can help them live in that healthy, active lifestyle. I also have like another second market, so it's my parents. Parents, I do offer a deal where they train for free, just because I know it's hard for like Russian parents taking the kids everywhere, because I know that's what my mum happened to my mum and dad. So by offering this scheme, it allows them to like still come along, and then they're more financially stable because they're only having to pay for the child. But yeah, due to the COVID, we did have to shut the clubs down, so then my income went. But we moved the sessions online, but we kept it free just because we know finance was hard with people, and we're quite fortunate with my mum and dad helping us out. But once I was allowed to do so, I operated outdoor sessions as well as private. My privates went up to 6 to 7 a week, and I used to only have 1 a week. And then lockdown 2 happened, so then all my privates stopped again. But we continued with the online sessions, keeping that free. We'll then hopefully hope to start next week again. But my main vision is to have more clubs in the Northeast, preferably like our own students. We want them to run them when they're like old enough, because we know we're confident that we've made quality students, and we're comfortable that they can help us provide more quality students by basing us around the different areas. But this also gives them a chance to open their own business just under our name, and then helps with their leadership skills, so they're going to have that all the way through to actually get to their career. But in the future, I am at university now, but I plan to do a personal trainer course to add that on to the business, but as well as physiotherapy, because my brother's just qualified as a physiotherapist and he's currently working for the NHS. So by him getting experience and then by me going to personal training, it's just a more diverse way to add on to the business. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Simone. Let's go into questions, and Josh, over to you to start again.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks very much for that, Simone. Great pitch. And it's clearly you are clearly so passionate about what you do, which is wonderful to see. You answer again very much like Louis. You answered a lot of my questions as we were going through. For me, it's clear I could get a good sense of the customers that you're trying to go after, the segments and the reasoning behind it. So just more of a personal question, really. Take the business forward 5 years' time. If I were to ask you the question, are you successful? What would you deem to be successful in 5 years' time?
I'd continue like going into the different schools and helping people, but I feel like I'll be successful because by adding the personal trainer on, a lot more people are interested in general fitness than the actual like martial art or Olympic sport. And that way like older people can come, like middle age, who aren't as confident to try something new. By getting them into that, they could then feel more confident by coming with me into the Taekwondo sessions. So that's the way I'm looking at it. But like keeping it all how it is now, and then keep advertising, and then obviously the kids we've got now, they're enjoying it, so we're just having them stick at it till they're older and then old enough to have the sense to open their own business.
Yeah, so it's very much about the empowerment and the effect of people, what you manage to actually do for people for you. That's your quantifier of success.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, thanks very much. Bill, I'll hand back to you.
Fantastic. That's so great to hear. And Sabrina, maybe over to you next.
Amazing. Obviously, with the tennis background, it's so nice to see you bringing your passion into starting your own business. My question for you is, how do you think you're going to build a really effective team so that you're able to build a business rather than them just coming to you as an amazing trainer as well?
So what we are looking at is like in the future, like obviously employ our own students, so run it that way by getting them going into school. So we get charged roughly £20 to £25 like for each session we do in a school. So we're thinking like £10 goes to like me and then £15 goes to them. So then that's working as a business. So I'm making money from them doing my work basically.
Fantastic. Thanks, Simone. Hassan, over to you.
Great pitch, and I can really see how passionate you are about taekwondo, and it's really amazing to see, when somebody's really passionate about what they do, and I think that's a big part of running a business. My question is, what's the aim in 10 years' time? What do you want your business to look like, or what do you want it to be? What's that kind of the reach when you know this is what I wanted?
Yeah. In 10 years' time, I do want like my own venue, because at the minute, like we're going in community centres, so that like we've got in my back garden, we've got like a big shed what we're using at the minute. But I do want like a big premises so I can add the physio room, personal trainer room, and then a taekwondo hall. But then working on that, we can hire it out to other people. Like that's my goal, like in 10 years' time.
Thank you. Great answer. That's amazing. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Simone. And Stella.
Thanks, Bill. And Simone, I saw you pitch at the finals of National Entrepreneur of the Year, and I'm so pleased to see you've continued your business. You look like you're going places. I think my question to you is, what do you think in what area have you developed the most in your business over the last year or 18 months since you started?
I've developed like a better relationship with my students. So like people from other clubs have now joined me just because like of that relationship like I have with all the students, where like based on other clubs they don't interact as well like with the children, where I've created that bond, like they can rely on me, like they can come to me with like any problem. And I think that's what's like helped me get more people in, because of the word of mouth. So people have been singing my praises, and then like they've asked for new people to come join me, as I've recently just got a new little 5-year-old come, because I've got a little girl called Isabella, so they work together. So
that's brilliant. Great insight as well.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Simone, thanks so much. And as Stella said, it's great to see someone come from winning National Entrepreneur of the Year through to this point. And from everything you said, you can picture how your business is going to grow from here on in. So great pitch today. Thank you. Now you can leave and we can go back and try to get Yolanda. As I said earlier, Yolanda is a graduate from Leicester Peter Jones Enterprise Academy. She's been having connection issues. So this may work, it may not work, or it may work badly. Let's see. But Yolanda, do you want to give it a go? See if you can come off mute, put your camera on. Are you there, Yolanda? I can see her on the sidebar, but at the same time, it's saying lost connection.
Yeah,
which might be a bad sign.
Fingers crossed. Let's channel our energy to get Yolanda here on the Wi-Fi gods of the sky.
Okay. So what I might do, just to kill a little bit of time while we're trying to get Yolanda, I think she's trying to find a hotspot. I might just go back to the judges and ask them each to answer one question. And that question is, looking back to when you were sort of in your 20s, and particularly if you had entrepreneurial ambitions then, what sort of is one big learning, one bit of advice that you can pull out to share, not just with the candidates today, but with the audience watching, some of whom will be students at our Peter Jones Enterprise Academies? It'd be great to get your reflections on kind of where you were when you were at the point where these candidates were, if that makes sense. And maybe, I don't know, Stella, maybe I'll come to you first, not wanting to put you too much on the spot.
Thanks, Bill. It was such a long time ago, I'm not sure I can remember. I think the biggest thing for me is to stop looking at why you can't do something and look at what it is you want to do and why you can do it. So, we have a tendency to look at all the things that are going to prevent us from achieving something. And I think all entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, just look at the thing they want to succeed at doing.
Yeah, that's great. That's great advice. And I don't know, Josh, what about you?
For some It wouldn't let me click on mute. It's done it now. Bill, you were saying, what's one thing you can remember from your 20s? If I'm still in my 20s, can I still answer? I just wanted to put that in there. No, for me, when I had my business, and entrepreneurship has evolved, right? There is a lot more support than there was even 5 or 10 years ago. But I put an expectation on myself that I had to be good at everything and that I had to know everything. This was my business, and therefore I had to be good at everything. And it's an unrealistic expectation for anybody to put on themselves at any point in their lives. And so, I mean, it could have been that I was an egotist or a narcissist, I don't know, but I used to regard asking for help as a weakness. Don't, because actually as an ecosystem, business and entrepreneur ecosystems tend to be some of the most supportive that you can get. So make sure that you are aware of your strengths, you're aware of your weaknesses. We talked about in the questions for Louis, somebody asked, how important is that co-founder? And a co-founder is important to fill in the gaps where you're not strong, but you're strong elsewhere. So be honest, be humble about your own abilities, and relax about asking for help, I think would be the one thing that I wish somebody had said to me.
Great advice. Well, thanks, Josh. Thanks, Stella, for that little advice interlude. I'm pleased to say that that Yolanda looks like Yolanda's back. So let's bring Yolanda onto the stage. Yolanda, best of luck. Sorry you've had connection issues. Let's hope we can get through the pitch. Over to you. You need to be off mute. You got it.
Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Okay, brilliant. According to many surveys, estate agents have the worst reputation next to politicians.
Oh.
So close.
So close. So close. That's like having the taste of a good meal and it being whipped away. You're about to tuck in. Okay, I think we might have to take a bit of a pragmatic view. Maybe let's have one more go, and go back to what we were doing before. If it doesn't work the second time round, then I think we'll have to go straight to the judging panel. But maybe Sabrina, I can ask you for any words of wisdom, thinking about your entrepreneurial journey, some of which has obviously been in the limelight through the apprentice program, and any kind of reflections or bits of advice that you can share.
Definitely. I guess when you're starting up, you want to make sure that you've got a business model that's like scalable. When I started my events company, the reason why they were coming to my events was because of me. And when I started to expand my team, which we did, we ended up with a team of over 40, it still wasn't as good quality as when I first started it, because that's the reason why they were coming. So when you're thinking about starting your business, you want to make sure that you're not the main reason why they're coming to you. And if you want to start a massive business, so you've got to think how you can create a team, create an environment, create an atmosphere that they're going to want to come to you because of your brand rather than just your personal brand.
Yeah, amazing. Great advice again. So Yolanda, we're going to try you again. I can see you there. Maybe don't use your camera on this occasion. We'd love to see your face, of course, but let's try just using sound for this pitch and see if that works.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Okay. Ready?
Yes. Go for it.
Brilliant. So, according to many surveys, estate agents have the worst reputation next to politicians. 87% of the British public have had a negative experience with an estate agent. I wasn't too surprised by this because growing up, I always heard people complain about how they don't like estate agents. They think that agents are greedy because they charge tenant fees on top of already being paid by a landlord. The tenant fee was so unpopular by the general public that the government had to intervene, and they introduced the Tenant Fees Act 2019, which banned agents from charging tenant fees. However, the negative perception of estate agents still exists, especially among landlords who often have a negative attitude towards them. Landlords feel that agents are just in it for themselves, who charge high fees for a pretty low standard of service, and not to mention the lack of transparency regarding fees. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Yolanda, and I am the founder of Let's So Simple. We are a new online letting agency on a mission to change our industry by breaking the negative perception of estate agents. As a result, our vision is to be one of the UK's most loved letting agencies. After learning about the negative perception of estate agents, I decided I wanted to learn more and start my own business to solve the problem. With no prior experience, I began working as a letting agent to gain the necessary skills and experience, which later led to the launch of Rented, a hybrid agency combining everything agents do, from management to property sourcing. After experimenting with Rented, I changed my business model to an online tenant find service and rebranded with Let's So Simple after finding my niche. Delivering a high-quality service in an honest, transparent and hassle-free way, we charge £80 to let a property. Whether you're in Portsmouth or Newcastle, we operate nationwide, and here are 5 reasons why we're different. Number 1, unlike other agents, we charge a fixed fair price of £80 and only after we've successfully let a property. This is to show our commitment to finding landlords their ideal tenant, and it gives them the reassurance that we're not just in it for the money. With no upfront cost, it means that signing up with us is completely free, and more importantly, none of those upfront hidden costs that we were talking about. Number 2, we use modern technology using a rent passport to eliminate time-wasting viewings. A rent passport is a quick snapshot of a potential tenant and their financial background prior to a viewing. This secures a better chance of a tenant being successful for a property. Number 3, we're one of the few agents that require employees to take a lettings course, which is to provide a higher standard of service. Currently, anyone can be a letting agent without any prior knowledge or experience, which can often lead to a poorer standard of service. Number 4, our unique business model allows other agents to reach out to us to work together. We find them tenants and they can focus on the managing aspect of the property. And finally, number 5, most letting agents require landlords to sign a contract. This makes it difficult for a landlord to switch if they're not happy. The signing of a contract is hugely unpopular with landlords as they feel like they don't have much power once they've signed it. We're handing the power back to the hands of the landlord by allowing them to market with other agencies if they wish to. 25 years ago, if you needed to let your property, you would visit your local letting agent. In recent years, the value of a presence is changing, allowing online In 2019, online agents had a market share of 8% in the United Kingdom, with many sources estimating that in July 2020, we've had over 10 sign-ups landlords. We've even had other companies in our residential platform for property agents. Our unique
Yolanda, your signal's going a little bit.
In order to achieve our business vision.
Yolanda, I don't know if you've moved, but your signal's kind of becoming a little bit intermittent. So,
a more efficient service for landlords. Thank you for listening.
Okay, great. Thanks, Yolanda. Just towards the end of the presentation there, we heard it all loud and clear, but the last kind of 40 seconds or so was a little bit intermittent with the signal. So I might ask the judges to just spend a little bit more time questioning you so that you're sure to get your message across. But most of that was absolutely crystal clear, at least for me. Let's go to the judges, and maybe Stella, start with you.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Yolanda. That was great. And I'm sorry you've had so many difficulties presenting. My question to you is, what do you think your biggest learning has been over the course of establishing your business?
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see we're going to have problems with Yolanda. I think I think the questioning is maybe going to be difficult, but what we'll do, what I can ask the judges to do, is take that into consideration in terms of their deliberation, and at the very least we can maybe set something up following this so that we get a chance to give Yolanda some feedback and some thoughts from our side. Have you got something to add, Stella?
I just wondered whether, if she's connected, we could question her through the chat, maybe, or is that too complicated?
I think that's going to be a little bit complicated. She's totally dropped out right now.
Could say Noreen or someone get in touch with her over the phone and then just speak to her through the chat, through the video.
What I think, actually thinking about it, is the best idea. You're going to go and deliberate on Teams, and maybe we can get her into that Teams conversation just for a quick 5-minute questioning away from the main show. So let me see if I can sort that out. But what I'll do now is just firstly say amazing job to our presenters. I don't know about you judges or our audience watching, but certainly from my side, I felt totally inspired. And I know that I speak for myself, but everybody who works for the Peter Jones Foundation, when we see these alumni sort of come through and do such great things in terms of setting up and growing their own businesses, it's incredibly rewarding for us. And really enjoyed the presentations. I thought you all did a fantastic job. I think it's going to be a really difficult decision for the judges to make. So I'm going to thank you all. I'm going to ask the judges to go and join their team's discussion and their deliberation. Whilst the judges are deliberating, and hopefully we can hook them up with Yolanda for some questioning, I'm absolutely thrilled to have Lorenzo Luiso with us this afternoon. Lorenzo is another alumni from the Peter Jones Enterprise Academy. He comes off the back of a course at Amersham College. He was in the position of our finalists last year, so he was a Scale Up Challenge finalist in 2019, and he's rejoining us today to talk to you about his business and the challenges he's faced in his own business journey. So, Lorenzo, I'm going to hand over to you, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. You might be on mute. I'm hoping you're on mute. Okay, I can't hear you. I'm wondering, Alex, if there's any magic you can work.
We can't hear you. You're unmuted on the platform, so
maybe it's coming in and coming out again. Is that an option, Alex?
Can you? There you go. No. And if you can check on your computer if the right mic's being picked up, is what I'm thinking for Lorenzo.
Apologies to the audience. Hopefully we can just sort this technical challenge out. You can stay with us. No.
Otherwise, I wonder if he can join on his phone or something like that, where it's going to be a different mic. Just use the same link in the email to jump straight on, Lorenzo, if you can hear that.
Yeah. Can you hear us?
Yeah, okay, you can hear us loud. Yeah, apologies everyone watching. It is the tech, it is the connectivity, and we're trying to do a lot here, and it has been working really, really well up until the last 5, 6, 7 minutes. So fingers crossed we can get Lorenzo back. We have got time. Let's see if we can get him back.
Okay, I think he's sort of coming in and coming out, isn't he?
Yeah. Now we had earpods on, didn't they? I wonder if they're synced up to his laptop correctly because he was unmuted. So, okay, everybody. So appreciate the kind words that we're getting from everybody. Outstanding group of pitches. So impressive, says Ollie Carr, head of programs at the Peter Jones Foundation. Here's Lorenzo trying again.
Is there a voice now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Got you. Brilliant.
Perfect. Can you hear me there?
Yes, sir.
It's a bit muffled, but I think we'll be all right.
All right. Is that any better for everyone? Can you hear me?
That's great, Lorenzo. You go for it. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Apologies, everyone. I'm not sure what happened there. The trusty AirPods came in handy in the end. Thanks very much for the introduction, Bill. That's what I was saying before when nobody could hear me. First off, I just wanted to kick off and say well done to all the finalists today. I've been watching along and it's amazing. Some really interesting businesses. Really enjoyed it. And as Bill mentioned, I was part of the Scale Up Challenge last year, and it was easy in effect at that point because we could stand on a stage and really communicate with people well. And this must be really tough to be sat in our offices or our homes and doing the same pitch that I had to do last year, with all the energy in the room. So well done to everyone. And I'm looking forward to seeing who the winner is and seeing what the judges thought of everything. But I know Bill mentioned I was just going to have a talk about my journey. So I actually started off as a Peter Jones Enterprise Academy student. I'd always been into business. I've had family around me running businesses my entire life. But really, when I started at the Peter Jones Enterprise Academy, that was my first taste of a formal business, not selling wares at school or selling anything to get my hands on at school. It was more about when I went to the Peter Jones Enterprise Academy, it was about formalizing what I knew about business and really starting to kick one off. And the first one I started was a business called LD Motorcycles. And the initial idea behind the business was just to sell retail motorcycle gear online, just like any others were doing. And to be honest with you, it started off slow. That's the dead honest truth of that business. And I think many people don't consider that when they kick something off. I was 16 or 17 at that point. And as I worked through the course, I left the college. And as many sort of entrepreneurs will find when they start out, it doesn't always make money from the beginning. So at that point, I decided to get a part-time job whilst working along and building my business. And funnily enough, it's my part-time job that really led me to get to where I am now. So whilst I was at the part-time job, it was actually as a digital marketing executive. So I thought, well, if I'm going to start an online business, I better get some experience in that world. And whilst doing that and growing the business, I found that I actually dealt with a lot of other businesses who had sort of been done dirty by other agencies in the past, and had sort of had bad experience with digital marketers. And that's why I finally launched Brick Digital. And that's what the business I run at the moment, sort of 90% of my time is on, aside from the business I originally started. And Brick Digital is an online marketing agency that focuses on search marketing. So we help businesses grow and build them online brick by brick, as we like to say, through search, which is SEO, pay-per-click advertising, and also website marketing, which a lot of people sort of neglect when it comes to that world. So I launched Brick Digital, as it says, to build businesses online. It was all about helping traditional established businesses who were at threat of getting left behind. And my experience from that was that my family businesses had seen the same thing. By not going online, they'd lost out. So I wanted to help businesses like that. And that's why I launched Brick Digital. The real learning from that phase of my journey was that actually, as I said initially, the first idea you have, the first business you start might not be the one that kickstarts everything for you. I know we always see these success stories of first-time entrepreneurs growing a unicorn of a business, but it's generally not the truth for all of us. And that business that I started off has actually now morphed into a motorcycle clothing brand. I still run it to this day. It's sort of run mostly on autopilot. So as I said, it's not, my first idea wasn't what did great for me. And funnily enough, a lot of people are always interested when I say that when I launched my second business, Brick Digital, we actually made more in the first year than I had in 4 years of running my previous business. And it really allowed me to then go full time on my entrepreneurial journey. So that all came after being at the Peter Jones Enterprise Academy. But one of the things I learned, and I think so many of us learn as we go along in our business journey, is where my strengths were and what I really enjoyed about running a business. And I found that in the past, the idea of this sexy lifestyle of online entrepreneurialism, I thought that was what I wanted. I wanted to travel the world and be behind my laptop making money. I actually realized that that wasn't what I wanted to do. And really my strengths were in engaging with people and sort of seeing their businesses grow and seeing what we were doing, helping them. And couldn't do that from just behind a screen. And that's why when I launched Brick Digital, that's why we've seen growth, is because my sort of passion is really behind the business. And I know everybody always says that about a business. And they say you should do what you love and do what you're passionate about. But we can't always do that. I love food and I love, motocross bikes, but it doesn't mean I go into business in all of them. It's about finding our softer skills. And like I said, for me, it was about engaging with people. Sales is something I love doing. So I can do that through a digital agency and build a team, which I'm starting to do here, to deliver on all of our promises and all of our aims for our clients. So I think that was one of my key learnings there. But after a couple of years of running Brick Digital, I then went for the Scale Up Challenge, as I mentioned last year. But unfortunately, I didn't take the win last year. And as I said, it was certainly a lot easier than this year has been. But throughout that, even being part of that, grew me as an entrepreneur and allowed me to make contacts, and just generally has helped me out a lot in public speaking and even in my sales sort of role at Brick Digital. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was our year as a business through coronavirus, because a lot of people are wondering, who's doing well, how's it going for a lot of businesses. Now, obviously at the beginning of the first lockdown, we lost maybe 40% of our clients probably paused campaigns and paused their monthly retainers with us. So it does take a knock, and we did. But equally, what I've learned from all of that is that if you can keep adding value constantly as a business, even when they've stopped paying us, we were sort of on the phone helping them, sort of offering free advice. I think we've come back to sort of 95% of those retainer clients have come back after that first lockdown, because we continued to support them and didn't ask much for it during it. So that was sort of the biggest down of this coronavirus period. But I think one thing that we've learned massively is that about adding value, but it's also been that we can't deliver the results we want sort of working from home, and we need to build a team in-house. And that's something that has really benefited us since making another new hire last month. building that in-house team has made a massive difference. So there's ups and downs to everything. I think that's one of the key learnings for me and for other businesses throughout all of this, is that there will be ups and downs. Hopefully never a down or a more uncertain year than this ever again in our lives or in business. I bet everybody wishes that at the moment. But at the moment, Brick Digital is heading towards growth. We've now got 2 other full-time members of staff other than me in the office here, and we're based in Watford, North London. I did mention that while I was on mute there. And there's 2 other members of staff. We're growing towards actually building up a partnership network of web design agencies and creative agencies, as we found that partnerships work really well for our business rather than cold calling or selling the world, and never delivering on it. We like to have partnerships. And that's what we're working on. And into 2021, as I said, hopefully it's a better year than this one for the world and for everybody. And I wish that for every business. And finally, on that piece, the sort of moral of my story here and what I've learned through, it's now been sort of 7 years working for myself and running businesses, is that you should never stop moving, pivoting, hustling, as some people like to say. And by hustle, I mean just being ready for the next thing. Whenever something kicks in, just carry on going. Don't stop in your tracks. If you need to change your entire business model to make it work, do it, because that is the stuff that helps you grow as an entrepreneur, not just the business side, but as a person as well. So always keep moving and pivoting and hustling, and you just never know what's around the corner. And I think that's been shown so true this year. So that's my story in business, and hopefully that was interesting for everyone. Thanks very much. And I'll pass back to Bill. Ooh. Now I've got Bill on. Bill, I think you might be on mute now.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Lorenzo, listen, thank you so much. It's great to hear your story and your journey from the Peter Jones Enterprise Academy through the Scale Up Challenge last year, and great to hear that you're heading into some really strong growth. We're expecting the judges back in around about 5 or 6 minutes. So if it's all right with you, I can ask you a few questions, dig a little bit deeper into Brick and the challenges that you faced. And from my point of view, it's really interesting that you work with lots of small local businesses to develop, and amazing that you retain 95% through COVID, through just offering amazing customer service. And I understand the challenges that you faced, but what I wondered was what challenges, but also opportunities, did you see the businesses you work with facing? And was there any sort of pattern to that, or any interesting sort of anecdotes that came out of the businesses you work with rather than your business itself?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually, Bill, because in my sort of position, I'm lucky enough to see the ins and outs of a lot of different businesses. And funnily enough, we have an amazing example of that. One of our clients, one of the longest standing clients with Brick, is actually a corporate events company. And they do like conferences, abroad meetings and incentive travel. And as you can imagine, when the lockdown came and it all kicked off, they were sort of, we at first were worried about what was going to happen to their business, and they were worried as well. But within a week, they done exactly what I just mentioned and pivoted and said, right, that's it. We already have the means to offer a virtual live event. They said, we need to push it as of now. They didn't stop in their tracks of worry too much and not do anything. They said, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to change it. Within a week, they got me on the phone and said, this is our offering. We need to market this. We started working on it, and within 2 weeks, we'd already got them up and running, marketing that out. And funnily enough, they were one of the first out there to do that switch so quickly. And as a result, and this is, like I said, it's a great question, because yesterday I was on the phone to them, and they are the busiest they've ever been. They've run around 40 virtual events since the beginning of lockdown. And before that, they'd never run a virtual event before. So that's what I'm seeing, is that the businesses who really didn't stop in their tracks, or the ones who pivoted when they needed to, are the ones that have done really well. And likewise, we work with an IT support company, very similar situation, but more about they kept investing in what they knew worked in the marketing with us. And at the same time, they actually, I think 2 months ago, we got a testimonial to say that these are the quantity and quality of the leads they get at the moment are what they wished for 12 years ago when they started. And it's about, as I said, it's about looking at when hard times come, not just, cutting cords and hiding from it all, but doing what you can, as I said, to pivot and hustle towards getting back to normal.
Yeah, that pivoting, that adaptability, that resilience, right, from so many entrepreneurs through COVID has been amazing. And I love that thing. A lot of the audience will know this, but I love that thing about the word crisis in Chinese, comprising of two characters. One means danger and the other means opportunity. And it's seeing that opportunity in the hard times that's so critical, isn't it? So yeah, thank you for sharing that insight. And the other thing that a lot of people have obviously seen through COVID is a change in working practices, more working from home, etc. Are you seeing that? Are you seeing businesses that you work with and your own businesses pivoting their working practices? What do you see the future of the workplace?
I think that's interesting. So at the beginning, everybody liked to rave that work from home was the best thing in the world. It drove me insane over the first lockdown, and within after the first week, I was fed up of it. And now actually, the staff I have here feel the exact same way for us. Personally, I think a lot more businesses than they thought will go back to their offices. I think working practices, especially in worlds similar to ours, where it's more about creativity and team collaboration, it just becomes really hard when if I want to speak to you about a project, I've got to book you in for a call, when if we were in the office, we could have had that chat within 5 minutes. I think that's the future for some, but I think for roles where it can be more administrative, or, where you really need time at home to write an audit or to write a report, that's great. I think there'll be a good hybrid of working from home and from the office in the future.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Lorenzo, thanks so much again for sharing your story and for chatting with me this afternoon and with our wider audience. Real pleasure to have you as part of the day today. I can see we've been rejoined by our panel of judges, which must mean that they have come to a decision. So without any further ado, I'm going to welcome onto the stage Stella Atherstone, who's on the exec team for the Peter Jones Foundation, to sum up, give a little bit of feedback and a bit of a verbal drum roll before announcing today's winner. Good luck to all our finalists. Over to you, Stella.
Thank you, Bill. I just want to say to all four of you, you did a fantastic job. Your presentations were brilliant. You knocked spots of me when I was your age. I don't think I would have managed to get up and speak in front of 2 people, never mind a whole screen full of people and a whole virtual audience out there. I'm going to just pick up one kind of point from various of the judges, just on each of you, and then we'll make the announcement at the end. And I'm going to start from Simone. Simone, great presentation. One of the comments from the judges was a wonderful why, so genuine as a person and a purpose. So we were blown away by what you're doing and why you're doing, and the kind of social aspects of what you're doing. Louis, we think that you've got a great clarity and vision, and kind of understand what you need to grow your business. And Sophie, we felt you were really a clearly capable entrepreneur and had really good commercial understanding about the value of your brand. And Yolanda, I think for us, the fact that you grew out of the experience of what you were doing and the process you went through, and used the learning to grow a new business and set up something exceptional, was what stood out for us on yours. So this was not an easy decision to make. We did have a kind of debate about all the aspects that we were, all the aspects of the competition, and here we have the virtual drum roll, and we'd like to announce on the basis that it's a really good idea with clarity and vision and energy, and hopefully going some places, we'd like to announce that Louis Bollard is the winner of the Scale Up Challenge for 2020. And I'm going to hand over to Louis. Would you like to say a few words?
Amazing. Congratulations.
Well done.
Oh no, you're on. We can't hear you in the moment of glory.
Yeah. I like all the hand emojis, everybody.
The hand emojis might have to suffice.
They might do. No, can't hear you, buddy. Here we go. I thought we got it. No. Can you check on your computer or jump on your phone quickly instead with a link that you had on the email, maybe? Let's see if you can quickly jump on. Really good. Really good.
Don't worry too much, Louis. We're not expecting a big speech anyway. But
he could have prepared one, though. He could have prepared like an officer speech, Bill. No, it was very impressive. Loads of energy, bags of energy, and I'm a Liverpool supporter as well, so
it's all good.
Really good, though. I thought Sophie, Simone, really strong as well. So great comments from the judges there, I thought, coming through.
Yeah. Well, if we can't hear Louis, I'll tell you what, if you come online, then we'll cut to you. But what I might do is just begin to wrap things up and give thanks to everybody. But listen, a huge congratulations to you. Amazing win today. But congratulations to all the finalists. I thought you all did an exceptional job. I don't know about anyone else, but I've really, really enjoyed today. I've been totally inspired by your pitches. So you're clearly going to go on to do amazing things. So let me thank the judges for taking part. Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you, Stella. Thank you, Hassan. Thank you, Josh. Josh, as you might have seen, had to leave early. He was called into an important meeting at NatWest. But thanks to him and to NatWest, the prize, as I said at the start, is support for a year. But at the centre of that is placed on NatWest Accelerator Programme. So thank you to you all. Thank you to the audience. Thank you for tuning in today. If you want to hear more about the Peter Jones Foundation, learn more about the Peter Jones Foundation, I should say, then it's peterjonesfoundation.org. If you're interested in our virtual fundraiser, go on to Charity Stars, some really fun sweepstakes and auctions that you can get involved in and support our charity. That's pretty much it. I should mention the Commercial Education Trust. They support our alumni program. So this has been put on with their support as well. Thank you, CET, if you're out there. Thank you, everybody. I don't know if Louis managed to get on.
Yeah.
Final word from you, Louis, our winner. Congratulations.
Yeah. Well done,
okay, good. I just want to say well done to everybody else as well who pitched. I thought it was a really good field. Really enjoyed listening to everybody's stories, and if I wasn't doing what I'm doing, I'd have been inspired to set up something as well. So thank you very much to the judges as well. Really appreciate your deliberation and you agreeing with the vision and the concept of where we can go with this. So that's always good to hear, and hopefully onwards and upwards, and a good future ahead.
Fantastic. Thanks, Louis. Congratulations once again. Congratulations, everybody. That pretty much wraps it up. Thank you for joining us today. And enjoy the rest of your afternoons. It's goodbye from us.
Thanks, Bill. Everybody, thank you so much for participating. We've literally got judges and our entrepreneurs from the length and breadth of the UK. We've even had Sabrina dropping in from Dubai. So appreciate you taking the time out to do that as well. And look, congratulations to Louis. I thought they were all strong. I really did. But I thought for me, your energy levels were through the roof, and it helps us buy, into your vision really, really easily. So well done on that. Onwards and upwards for absolutely everybody. We've got a really short break now. If you are on live here, then we've got virtual networking. If you go back into the lounge on the tables there, and we've literally got 25 minutes, and then we've got the Managing Director, Richard Bearman from Startup Loans, which are affiliated to the British Business Bank. And, never has there been a year where there have been more people start new businesses. So, where hardship is, people see opportunity, and we're going to have a chat with Richard. Quite often, the start of people's funding journey begins with a startup loan and mentorship that you get from the Startup Loans company. So I'm super looking forward to chatting to Richard. And then literally at 4:00, I've got the pleasure of joining me here is Piers Linney, former Dragon's Den investor, entrepreneur, banker, lawyer. I always run out of things to say when I'm introing Piers. And then to round up today, I've got William Watkins from Radnor Drinks, who was a farmer and taken his business in Wales to a 50 million plus turnover business. So it's an incredible story to finish off today, and then a bonus day tomorrow, as I mentioned earlier, finishing off with Adam Kamani, co-founder of Pretty Little Thing and part of the Boohoo dynasty. So come and join us again, 25 minutes. Once again, thank you enormously to the Peter Jones Foundation, for Bill for hosting us, for all of our judges, and for all of our entrepreneurs on here as well, and for Noreen to knitting it all together. Much appreciated. Thank you all very much. Stay in touch.
Thank you.